You would think that if two of the most famous young stars in Hollywood secretly got married, someone would know. There would be photos, a leaked guest list, a blurry video from someone's phone, something. But with Zendaya and Tom Holland, there's been nothing. And somehow, that silence is exactly why the internet thinks something huge just happened. Because over the past few weeks, fans haven't just been speculating, they've been connecting dots. Small ones, the kind most people wouldn't normally notice. And when you line them all up, the theory starts to look less like random gossip and more like a carefully hidden secret. And it all started with one detail that fans couldn't stop talking about. Zendaya was spotted wearing a ring.
I am 99.99% sure that Tom and Zendaya never got married, and Zendaya might have accidentally gave that away. Allow me to cook. This all started when Demois had posted a photo of Zendaya on February 20th saying that she was spotted with a wedding band on that finger. Now we know that sometimes when Demois has sources, it actually comes from people in the industry, and I think this was all one big marketing plan to get people to talk about Zendaya and Robert Pattinson's new movie, The Drama. Now, when this photo came out, it had people talking, but not enough to make the internet go crazy. It wasn't until Law Roach was on the red carpet being asked about what Zendaya's gown would look like when he said this.
The wedding has already happened. You missed it.
You see, technically, if Law Roach is referencing Zendaya getting married in the movie, he's not lying, it already happened. It made things worse when Demois had posted on March 7th that several sources told her that they did get married in Lake Como. So of course, somebody made really realistic AI photos, plastered them all over social media, and it was even getting 10 million plus likes. But then just a few days later, Demois posted a photo of Tom Holland without his wedding ring. And a lot of people said, well, it's common for men not to wear wedding rings. So at the time, I didn't think much of it. Until 2 nights ago when Zendaya was on Jimmy Kimmel's show and she was asked about the AI photos and she says this.
People have been fooled by them.
Yeah.
While I was like just out and about in real life and people were like, oh my God, your wedding photos are gorgeous. And I was like, babe, they're AI. They're not
so
real.
Crazy.
They're not real.
Was anyone in your life fooled by them? In your real life?
Yes, many people.
And mad that they weren't invited?
Yeah.
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 People in her real life were mad that they weren't invited, not realizing that the photos were AI. It could be she would have a small wedding and she wouldn't invite people, or it could be that she never had a wedding. That this was all a genius marketing plan to get people talking and watching their new movie.
Not just any ring, a ring on that finger. At first, it seemed minor. Celebrities wear jewelry all the time. But fans quickly noticed something unusual. The ring wasn't flashy. It wasn't styled like a red carpet accessory. It looked simple, subtle, personal. Within hours, social media detectives were zooming into photos, comparing angles, and analyzing every appearance. Some fans even went back through older photos to see if the ring had appeared before. And that's when things got more interesting, because the ring hadn't been there before. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from casual curiosity to full-blown theory. People weren't just asking what the ring meant, they were asking when it appeared and, more importantly, why now? But the ring wasn't the only clue. Around the same time, fans started resurfacing comments Tom Holland had made in interviews.
The last thing I Googled was actually Zendaya. Damn.
It's kind of iconic.
I'm not on socials.
Yeah.
And I delete it when I'm not using it. So sometimes it's more of a bit of an anxiety thing, but like I'll check to see that like everything's good.
Comments that didn't seem suspicious at first, but suddenly felt very different in this new context. Tom had been talking more openly about wanting a quieter life. He mentioned stepping back from acting.
Tom Holland shares in an interview about his plans to step back from acting. One of my favorite things about Tom Holland and Zendaya is they have an unconventional but very professional way about approaching their acting careers. In an interview about fatherhood, Tom Holland shared that when he has kids in the future, you will not be seeing him in movies for a while. I have a lot of respect for this, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of the other choices that he's made. He's also shared in the past about his sobriety journey and the steps that he made to be a better version of himself because he realized that what he was doing wasn't worth it for him. As we all know, Tom Holland and Zendaya are engaged, and it sounds like there are kids in the future, and when that happens, he feels like it's not going to be in his best interest to be filming a ton of movies at that point. He wants to be a dad, and he wants to be golfing, and he wants that to be what he's focusing on. Now, whether or not he gets back to it and starts making movies again later on, We'll see. As far as I know, I think he's still under contract to finish all of the Spider-Man movies, so we know at least those will be a guarantee, and we'll get to see Tom Holland for a couple more years.
He talked about focusing on personal happiness. At one point, he even spoke about wanting to start a family someday. None of this was shocking on its own, but when you combine those comments with the sudden ring, fans started to see a pattern. Because in Hollywood, when a major star starts talking about stepping back, it often means something big is happening behind the scenes. And the timing made people even more suspicious. Tom wasn't just casually mentioning these ideas. He was repeating them across multiple interviews. He talked about burnout. He talked about wanting stability. He talked about building a life outside of constant filming schedules. And fans couldn't help but ask one question. What if that life already started? But then people started noticing something else. Something that's always made Zendaya and Tom Holland a little different from other celebrity couples. They're incredibly private. For two of the biggest names in Hollywood, they've kept their relationship surprisingly low-key. They rarely walk red carpets together. They don't flood social media with couple photos. And when they do appear together, it's often brief and understated. That level of privacy isn't common, especially for younger celebrity couples. Most high-profile relationships today thrive on visibility, public appearances, coordinated posts, carefully timed announcements. But Zendaya and Tom have done the opposite. They've kept things quiet, controlled, intentional. And that's why fans started wondering if this wasn't just about privacy, but strategy.
Ladies, ladies, ladies. There are boys and there are men. There are boyfriends and then there are husbands. Tom Holland is a husband. So allegedly in the Zendaya and Tom prenup, he set up a specific fund of $4 million for the education, safety, and housing for their future children. And this is what women are talking about when we talk about the low birth rate, when we talk about this huge maturity and social gap. A lot of these men, Gen Z men, want children, but are they really thinking through education, safety, and housing for their future children? Are they really thinking in terms of true provision, true stability? And mind you, this is a woman that can clearly cover all of that, but it speaks something to values, it speaks something to family, it speaks something to impact and more.
Because when you look back at their relationship timeline, there's a noticeable pattern. They first sparked dating rumors years ago while filming Spider-Man. At the time, both of them brushed it off. They kept things friendly, avoided confirming anything, and let the speculation fade. Then, slowly, the relationship became more visible. A few candid photos, a couple of public outings, just enough to confirm things without turning their relationship into a spectacle. And since then, they've kept that same approach. Private, quiet, minimal. But recently, fans noticed that they've become even more low-profile than usual. Fewer public appearances, fewer sightings, less visibility overall. And that's when the theory really started to grow. Because sometimes, when celebrities go quiet, it's because something major just happened. And then fans noticed comments from people around them that only fueled the speculation further. Friends and insiders started using phrases like settling down and long-term. Nothing direct, nothing confirming anything, but just enough to keep the conversation alive. Even subtle social media interactions became part of the theory. Likes, comments, timing, fans analyzed everything. And while none of it confirmed anything, the pattern kept building. But what really pushed the theory into overdrive was Zendaya herself.
Do y'all remember that time when Zendaya's parents got called ugly after they walked the red carpet with her? And it went around on Twitter for weeks that ugly people make beautiful babies? We were never going to see her wedding. We were never going to see anything. We'll never see her babies, her grandkids, her anything about her private life ever. And I think that's part of why her relationship with Tom Holland is like such a mystery. What do they do? What do their dates look like? All this. Y'all insulted her parents to her face. Like, are you kidding? I wouldn't share a damn thing either. The idea of Black women existing for entertainment purposes only, she saw that shit and said, oh no, we're not doing that. You're not going to take these things that I hold precious, these people that I hold precious, our relationships, and then insult me and then also say, okay, but we want more, so we can insult more. No. And she's not playing them games. And I admire her, not just for her acting ability and her like poise and the things about her that she shows, but the things that she doesn't. That's important too. She protects things that she finds important, and we will never hear about them. Ever. And girl, I live the same way. I'm not showing anybody a damn thing because I want to keep it safe.
Because over the past year, her career has been shifting in a noticeable way. She's been taking on more mature roles, moving into producing, expanding her influence behind the scenes. These aren't just career moves, they're long-term positioning decisions. Zendaya isn't just acting anymore. She's building something bigger. And fans started wondering if her personal life was evolving at the same time. Because in Hollywood, major career shifts often happen alongside personal milestones. And then there's Tom Holland. His career has been shifting too. He's talked openly about wanting to step away from Spider-Man. He's taken on different types of roles. He's even spoken about taking breaks from acting altogether. These aren't random changes. They suggest someone thinking long-term, someone planning the next phase of life. And when fans looked at both of their career paths side by side, the timing felt aligned. Zendaya building a long-term career foundation, Tom stepping back and redefining his path, both becoming more private, both talking about stability. And suddenly, the secret marriage theory didn't feel so far-fetched anymore. Because when you step back and look at the bigger picture, a quiet marriage would actually make sense. It would protect their privacy. It would prevent media frenzy. It would allow them to focus on their careers without turning their relationship into a headline every week. And they wouldn't be the first couple to do it. Hollywood has a long history of quiet marriages, celebrities who chose to keep things private until they were ready to share, or sometimes never shared at all. And Zendaya and Tom have already shown they prefer control over attention. So when fans noticed the ring, the comments, the silence, it all started to connect. Of course, none of this has been confirmed. There's no official announcement, no verified reports, no public confirmation. But that hasn't stopped the theory from spreading, because sometimes, in Hollywood, the biggest clues aren't loud, they're quiet. A ring that appears out of nowhere, interviews that suddenly feel different, a couple that becomes even more private than before. And whether the secret marriage theory is true or not, one thing is clear. Zendaya and Tom Holland have built something rare in Hollywood, a relationship that thrives without constant attention. And maybe that's why fans are so fascinated, because in an industry built on visibility, they've managed to keep their biggest moments hidden. And if there really was a secret marriage, it would be exactly the kind of move they'd make. Quiet, private, intentional. And until they say otherwise, fans will keep connecting the dots.
All right, let's bring in mom and dad. Yes. Everyone scooch in, get close.
Now, yeah, in a lot of ways, it somewhat closely resembles a scene in the film.
Yeah, but it was a beautiful day.
And it almost would seem as if somebody just crudely pasted Tom's head over Robert's head.
No, that was real footage.
Okay, so just to be clear, that was not AI.
No, that was real.
Okay.
That was real.
Right.
I was there.
All right, wow, there you go. We got a real scoop here on the show. Zendaya.